Lend me your ears.
This nation will rise up.
This is the Awesome Health Podcast.
Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the varieties and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendour of achievement. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Welcome to the Awesome Health Podcast. My name's Nick Quinton, and this is episode 0, or that's what I'm calling it. And it's basically a very short introduction into what you're listening to, what it's all about, who I am, and why I'm doing this, and why you are going to get an awesome amount of information and value and maybe some entertainment out of these episodes moving forward. And we're going to talk a little bit about the format and how I'm going to try and manifest a journey into your ears, into your lives to try and help you. So who am I? My name's Nick Quinton. You could say I'm a former paratrooper, paramedic, consultant, health coach, mentor, podcaster even, devoted husband, a good friend, but that's not actually who I am. In this moment, I'm only someone who wants to try and add some value and maybe entertainment into your life. So that stuff doesn't really mean much to you yet because you don't really understand who I am and the journey that I've been on. But hopefully through the episodes, I'm going to give you some tangible information and some narrative about what's going on with me and in the hope that it assists you on your journey as well and adds value into your life. Otherwise, it's going to float over and it's not going to be too meaningful for you. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Is the point of my introduction is to just suggest that we're both on a journey and we're gonna go on that journey together. And it's important to remember, I think it's Jim Rohn that said, the thing about a little bit of guidance is it can turn into a lifetime of good judgment. So what is the podcast about and what are we trying to achieve here? So I spent over 10 years in the fitness industry in London, all different aspects, working one-on-one, working lots of groups, different components of fitness. And for the last 7 years, I've been working pre-hospitally in the healthcare system in the UK. And that's led me to realise that the healthcare, or what we jokingly call the sickcare system, is fundamentally broken. And there's a huge sort of darkness hanging over us and problems around the approach to health, fitness, life, and all things health related that we're trying to achieve as individuals. That said, there is a group or a group of individuals doing amazing things in the health space, and my goal with the Awesome Health Podcast is essentially I want you to join me on a journey that will cut through all the noise and provide you with a better understanding of what will work, what does work, what will work for you, and what you might want to focus on moving forwards. And make no mistake, underpinning this is my desire to have awesome conversations with amazing people, enhance my own knowledge, and sort of speak to people that I really admire and am in awe of in terms of the health space, and allow you to define your own unique path, but based on the information that sort of flows through the Awesome Health Podcast. Okay, so That said, I'm not a fitness guru. I don't want you to think of me as such. I'm certainly not a quack telling you how you should live your life. This is about a journey. And part of this project is really born out of my experiences as a paramedic on the streets of London, and my frustrations in what's happening out in the world, and trying to sort of change the way some people think about their health, their lifestyle, and implement changes now, so they don't have to face what I face when I go to guys and girls in their sort of 50s and 60s that are suffering from chronic conditions and have lost control of their health through really small lifestyle decisions, poor decision making in their 30s and 40s, that has led them to have these chronic conditions that largely, you know, the cellular damage is done, and the reversal is almostly, you know, not really going to work statistically. They're not going to see the results, and they're not going to have the quality of life that they want going into their latter years, and that's kind of my sort of emotional desire to bring my voice into the world and break through my fears of public speaking and being ridiculed on social media and all the stuff that people naturally sort of shun away from doing what they want to do, and actually saying the things they want to say, and actually breaking through kind of my own bullshit, my own fears, my own ego, to actually put my voice out into the world and seek out these people. So, you know, hopefully I can impact someone out there that and they make their changes, and they make changes in their life, and they don't lead to what I have seen time and time again. You know, I think back to the same story. We were working on an ambulance in South London, and we got called. We weren't sure what the call is. We didn't get much information down the sort of commuter system. Flew there on blue lights as a high category call, and we walked into a house, going up the stairs, and the door was open. The first smell we got was that putrid smell, that the smell of that is unmistakably sort of human mess, human soil, and we just heard a cry for help, and we walked in, and we saw this guy, morbidly obese. He'd fallen out of bed. He wasn't an old man. He was sort of in his 40s, late 40s. The sheet was covering his legs, or I thought it was, and I couldn't really see, and there was mess everywhere. And as we got him up out off the floor and back into his bed, he didn't have any legs, but it was just stumps and bandages, and I was shocked. I was learning to be a paramedic, and I was learning to try and help people at this stage, and I couldn't quite get my head around it. This guy was relatively young, and he was really overweight, and he sort of looked up at me and he said, "Don't let this happen to you. It's simple choices that I've made that have led me to be like this and have the life or the lack of quality of life that I have." And I just couldn't get my head around it. I said, "What's happened to you?" I made some poor choices, and I got type 2 diabetic. I became a type 2 diabetic, and I lost sensation in one of my legs, to the point where the blood flow was really reduced, and they had to amputate. And I didn't know much at this stage in my sort of pre-hospital career, and I just couldn't quite believe it. And I was meeting someone that had suffered from diabetic neuropathy, to the point where he'd have to have an amputation. I didn't think that happened that often. Little did I know at that point in time. And I looked down, and I realised that both his legs were missing. And then he said, "Yeah, I had one removed, and then 6 months later I got a disease in my bone that the doctors said was irreparable, and that led to them having to amputate my other leg." So he became a double amputee within 6 months, bedbound, overweight, insulin levels all over the place, with just an incredibly poor quality of life. And it was more the desperation in his voice and and the fact that he was aware that his own choices had led to him effectively cutting his healthy lifespan in half, and late 40s, bedbound, with what he considered, his words, was no life at all. And that story, happened early on in my paramedic career, and I just drilled home kind of the problems that we face in society, and started me thinking along the lines of what else can be done, and what actually is important when it comes to lifestyle, and have we got it right within modern medicine, and treating symptoms as we do, and delivering widespread medication across the board. Is that the answer? Is that the solution? Or are there things that we should be doing much earlier on, and allowing people to take ownership of their own health, and informing and getting people to buy into their own health? Is that not a better way to be? And over the years, the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I got the courage up to actually develop my own coaching practice, and that's led me on to delivering this podcast, and finding the people who I think have cracked the code in a certain respect, and have put together the pieces of their own version of awesome health, which is what I'm trying to do. And the podcast is all about me delivering my consciousness to the world, in order that you, as a listener, can take something away, one little nugget, two little nuggets away into your own life, that will help you take ownership of your own health, and lead you to have a long and healthy life. And that's my hope and my wish for all of you that are listening. And I just wanted to share that story with you. Probably garbled it a bit. I'm not used to talking into the microphone, but I think it's important to share sort of certain aspects of what I've been through, just to try and sort of build a connection, and help you understand where I'm coming from, and the alignment that I want to impart to you guys. And I want you to find some real tactical advice and support in implementing your version of awesome health, and enhancing your own life. So the format. Yes, so what we're going to do, every single week, I am going to bring you 2 episodes. That's my commitment to you guys. We will have an interview-style episode every single week, and with the interview, I'm looking to bring on some incredible humans that are professionals in the specialties that they do, and really unpick where they've come from, how they've got to that point in their life, and what they're doing that you can model, and what piece of the puzzle they've really figured out, and how they figured that out, and deconstruct that so you can implement it in your life. And then the second episode each week will be a much shorter sort of Q&A session, so you guys can send me all your questions and queries, and kind of quibbles about what's going on in the real world, in the health space, and I will do my best from my experience and the experience of the guys that I'm in touch with, to answer those questions and give you some interesting viewpoints. So there we have episode 0. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you shed some light on what I want to achieve, and what you can get out of this podcast. As usual, I would be grateful if you share this podcast, subscribe, give us a review, iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff would be fantastic. But also, more important to me, would be if you actually verbally share this with a friend of yours and tell them about it if you think it would add value to their life. I think that's probably more important, more pertinent to actually sharing stuff on social media. That would be very, very, I would be very, very grateful if you could do that. Until next time, guys, episode 1 is coming right around the corner. It's going to be phenomenal. Stick with me. Thank you very much.
Lend me your ears.
This nation will rise up.
This is the Awesome Health Podcast. Welcome to the Awesome Health Podcast. I'm Nick Quinton.